can't believe they're all grown up. Take the mask off.
All right, Jonah. All he's spraying. I gotta figure out a good way to do this. Put you right here. Okay. Got comfortable. When we start praying, bring this down. Laura, hold on that for a second. So, okay, after he's done praying, all of them. So he'll say, he'll walk over.
you guys decide on intermission? No? Okay.
I can double check Justin, but I'm like 99% sure.
Good evening to you. We'd like to welcome you to tonight's production. And you are here at Greenville Christian Academy. We're so thankful we could host this. Every single year we bring the Academy of Arts team, and they'll discuss their ministry and what they're all about here soon. But we bring them to work with our students, and you'll find very soon that it's more than just the acting and the performance, but they really reach the heart of our student body, and that's why we bring them here. They challenge them, they stretch them, they grow them. And the fact that you're here tonight means a lot to the students that are involved. They not only paid money, but they gave a lot of their time and effort, and their mind and abilities have been stretched. And that's the goal. You and I as Christians never want to remain the same. We want to be stretched so that we can grow and be more conformed back to the image of Christ, and that's what happened in the lives of the students this week. My name is Mike Lopez. I'm the school administrator here at Greenville Christian, and it is my honor to welcome you, and I'm so glad you're here. The Academy of Arts leader this week is Justin Swain. I'm going to turn it over to him here this evening. He's going to give some instructions as well as open our program in prayer, but I just wanted to give a brief welcome and say I'm so thankful that you're here tonight.
All right, good evening, everybody. As he mentioned, my name is Justin Swain, and I have the awesome privilege of working with the young people this week directing the high school play. And I also led the team of the Academy of Arts team that is here. Me and my wife co-led this team. We have two little boys. One of them you'll hopefully see behave up here on stage. But the rest of my team, we'll come and introduce ourselves at the end of the production. But what I want to do real quick is I do have some announcements, some housekeeping rules kind of thing. But just before I get to that, I just want to take a few moments and explain to some of you who might not know who we are, who the Academy of Arts Ministries is. But basically, our ministry was started back in 1971 by Dr. Nicky Chavers. And he felt a burden, because he had music degree, Bible degree, he minored in acting, and he felt a real burden to use the arts as a means of giving the gospel and discipling young people. So he started the ministry in 1971. The first thing that he started out doing, there's 5 branches to our ministry. The first thing he started doing is what we now call our summer drama teams. And basically what that is Dr. Chambers started recruiting high school and college age young people to come with him in a 15-passenger van trailer, travel around the country and go to different churches, different schools, different meetings, different places. And they would, in one day, they'd set up their performances, do an entire production, minister to the people, tear down, and go on and keep doing it all around the country. That's how the ministry really started. That's the first aspect of our ministry. And now it's been 50 years, and we are continuing to do that every summer. We send out teams around the country ministering to churches, and it is a fantastic program. All the information that I'm giving you is available in the back. You go right outside the foyer. We have a table with all documentation. If you have any questions or interests about this, or you know somebody that may be interested, feel free to stop by and talk to us at the table, and we can get you more information. So that's the first part of our ministry, is our summer drama teams. The second aspect is what you are seeing here now. This is our dramatic word seminars. The difference between this and the summer drama team is we're not coming and performing in one day. We come in 1 week and we teach an entire homeschool group, or in this case, a Christian school group, how to do the production themselves. That means we show up with a van and trailer with all of this stuff packed inside of it, and all the young people in the school all would jump right in. They learn how to do tech, how to set up and wire electricity and run sound and microphones. They learn how to do costumes, how to sew. They learn how to do makeup. They learn how to act and memorize lines. All of that, yes, in 5 days. And of those 5 days, it's not a 24/7. It's a maybe 9 hours every day on average, I guess. So a lot of potential stress, I guess you could say, happens during the week. But in that, we get to see what is in the tea bag when it hits the hot water. And we see what is truly in the hearts of the young people we get to work with. And these weeks, these dramatic word seminars, are an incredible discipling tool. Many of myself and many of the people on my team, we are a result of a team like this coming and doing these productions in these weeks in our schools. That's how we heard about the ministry. That's how we got involved. And now we are very privileged to be able to do this for other young people. So, first aspect is our summer drama teams. Second aspect, dramatic word seminars like you're seeing here. The third thing that we have is we have a college located at our home base in Taylor, South Carolina, just outside of Greenville, South Carolina. And there we teach different degrees from dramatic word productions, film and media. We offer, I believe, a master's degree as well. Again, all the information is available in the back. But that is a fantastic program that we have educating young people of how to use their gifts, talents, and abilities for reaching people for Christ. Because at the Academy of Arts, it's not just about the play, the drama, the stage, the makeup, the whatever. It's us using those things that God has given us as a way of making disciples and making an impact on the world around us. Third aspect is our conservatory, our college program. The fourth aspect that we have is the Logos Theater, which is also located at our home base in Taylor's. And there we mount full-scale productions. We have a full functioning theater with trapdoors, turntables, the works, all that great stuff. A lot of people give us the wonderful compliment that we rival Broadway productions. So if you or young people that you know of are interested at all in the arts and that kind of thing, but you don't want them, getting sucked into the world, into Hollywood, into Broadway, and all that comes with that, the Academy of Arts Logos Theater is an incredible place where you know that we will be presenting truth in every production that we do, and that all people that are involved in the cast are being discipled actively. Fantastic program. Feel free to check us out. We're going to be starting production for the Chronicles of Narnia Prince Caspian in the next 2 weeks. So very fascinating production. Stop by the table, get information. Fourth aspect, Logos Theater. Last aspect of our ministry, I know this is a mouthful, bear with me, is our Venture Films department. That's where young people can learn how to use filming, short films, music, cinematography, all the different aspects of making movies and videos, or doing commercials or anything like that, or documentaries. We teach young people how to use equipment, how to edit, how to act in front of cameras, all those different things. So if you're interested in any of those different departments, whether it's summer drama teams, dramatic word seminars, the college program, our theater, or our film department, all of that information is available in the back. But again, all those different things, those are just tools that we use to reach this generation for Christ in a very impactful and incredible way. Because a lot of people will come and see a production or go see a movie that would never step foot in a church. It's a really powerful way that we can reach our generation. So I please recommend you to check out our table in the back and find some way of getting involved with our ministry. I'm speaking from experience. It is truly a life-changing ministry. So all those things aside, now, you came here tonight to see this production. I just have a few housekeeping announcements I want to give to you all. Please take notice of all the different booby traps we have staged around the auditorium. If you have to leave for any reason, we are not using the aisleways for the production, but these pieces of equipment can be trip hazards. Please, please, please just take note of them and inspect the aisleways before you have to step out. If you have to step out, I don't want there to be any accidents. Also, with accidents, please refrain from using flash photography. It can be very disorienting for some people up here to be doing their thing, and boom, there comes the blinding light, Saul of Tarsus, and it would not be good, okay? So please no flash photography, but do feel free to take pictures and videos. For those of you that have people that could not make it here tonight but want to see what is happening, we are live streaming this production right now. How website, the school website?
YouTube.
YouTube, all right, YouTube channel for the school. Check that out for live streaming. And then the last thing before I turn it over to Caleb to play our video, the last thing that I would like to say is would you please just take a moment? I'm about to open us up in a word of prayer. Please just take a moment to just turn off your cell phones, quiet the noise, whatever thoughts, whatever's going on back home, whatever's happening tomorrow. Just put the thoughts and cares of other things aside. And for this next hour and a half, would you please just focus in with me as these young people have worked really hard to present a message to you. Let's do them the honor of giving them our full and undivided attention, all right? So at this time, I would like for us to play a video that talks a little bit about the production you're about to see, and then I will come back up and open us up in a word of prayer. So if I can get house lights taken out at this time, and then video, lights on me, can you come down, please? And we will go.
Joined us here for this very special performance of Marked for Greatness. I wanted to tell you a little bit of history about this production because it's very special to us here at the Academy of Arts. Our founder, Dr. Nikki Chambers, wrote this play in 1993 after reading the book To the Golden Shore. He was so moved with the sacrifice of Nancy and Adoniram Judson that he not only wrote this play, Marked for Greatness, but he wrote the sequel, The Cost of Greatness, about more of their life and their sacrifice in Burma. This was such a moving production for all of us to see back in the 90s, and it really helped shape my life and my understanding of what God wanted me to do in the future, with giving my whole life to Him as I watched this story come to life on the stage. I also remember that my dad was traveling that year, and as he traveled, he was away from home, and of course he was thinking of us girls, but he was also thinking of my mom, Sherry Chambers, and remembering the book that he read and all the things that he saw Nancy Judson do for Adoniram as they ministered together in Burma. And it reminded him of my mom. And he sat down and he wrote a song for my mom because she really personified that character of Nancy with the sacrifice, the faithfulness, and the love that she had for my dad and our family and the ministry that God had called them to. And so this song, Was There Ever, is very important because it actually shows up as the love theme in Marked for Greatness. So as you're watching the production, know that that song and that theme that you're hearing came out of my dad's heart as he meditated on a faithful wife. We hope that your heart is stirred and challenged to follow in the footsteps of people like Nancy and Adoniram Judson, who are real people who gave their life to Jesus Christ. So we hope you enjoy this production of Marked for Greatness.
Would you join me in bowing our heads for a word of prayer? Heavenly Father, in this next hour and a half, I pray, Lord, that you would bless all the efforts of the young people that have been preparing so hard for this production. Whether it's memorizing lines or blocking or changes that they're doing, or would all of them move forward in confidence with this production? And may we as an audience sit back and see the life of Adoniram Judson displayed in such a powerful way. Lord, I pray that it would touch hearts, that it would prick souls out here, Lord, that we would be eternally impacted from what we see up here on the stage. Lord, that's the work that only your Spirit can do. So I ask in the name of Jesus Christ that you do that work in and through us, and that we would go from this place encouraged to find what you have planned for our lives, how we can spend our lives on you and on things that will truly matter for eternity. And thank you so much for the wonderful privilege the Academy of Arts team has had to work with this school. God, we give this evening over to you. We ask you would take it and bless it and multiply it. And we ask these things in Jesus Christ's name. Amen. And now the students of Greenville Christian Academy High School and the Academy of Arts team presents Marked for Greatness.
destined to live an ordinary life.
In an ordinary place.
He knew early on that he was
marked for greatness.
Actually, the mark of greatness was placed on him by his father.
But the foundation of his greatness was laid by his mother.
The Reverend Mr. Judson, like his famous son, also bore the quaint and scriptural name of Adoniram.
He was an old-line Congregationalist minister who, because of his hard preaching, found himself
Dismissed
from his pastor in Malden, Massachusetts in 1790. It was a difficult time for the Judsons.
Oh, Abigail, my dear wife, how I have missed you these 3 weeks.
And I you, darling. It seems you've been gone a year.
How's the baby?
Growing.
Yes, growing more lovely like her mother. Adoniram, my big boy, did you miss me?
Yes, Father. I cried for you.
And we prayed for you too.
I fear your prayers have again gone unanswered.
Still no prospects for a church?
None. Yet I have filled pulpits, interviewed with church committees, called on a number of ministerial friends, and still no open doors.
Something will open up soon, dear. It has to.
It has been nearly a year since we began searching the Lord's will for the next open door.
I'm just thankful you had the wisdom to insist that we stay here in the parsonage for a year. But come, do not be discouraged. Here, sit by the fire. Adoniram has a surprise for you that will surely make your heart rejoice.
A surprise.
Yes, a surprise. Adoniram, come sit on your father's lap. Now, Adoniram, how old are you?
3.
What is this book?
Bible.
What is the Bible?
God's eternal word.
What does God want us to do with the Bible?
Read and obey.
Then Adoniram, read.
Here. Let not your heart be troubled. Believe in God. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it was not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place. Why, let us go hence.
Adoniram. Abigail, how long did you work with him?
He learned to read in just a week.
But he's only 3. Oh, my goodness. Adoniram, your father is so proud of you. Yes, anyone who can read at 3 cannot fail to accomplish great things. Adoniram, your father is an obscure country preacher. But you, Adoniram, will no doubt become a great man someday.
The little boy, seated on his father's lap, listened earnestly to his father's prayer.
die. But now it is clear, he will live.
Oh, thank God.
But he has ahead of him a long convalescence, perhaps as much as a year, almost entirely bed rest.
Doctor, is he aware
That he
that...
almost died? Most assuredly.
Adoniram Judson, famous, idolized, but dead. Caesar, Virgil, Cicero, all praised men, but in the dust. This life, brief, narrow, finite. In the afterlife, eternal, limitless, infinite. Not unto us, O Lord, not unto us, but to thy name be glory.
Adoniram, what's wrong?
Father, how can I be Christian and yet be a great man?
Adoniram in college at Providence, Rhode Island, just 6 days after his 16th birthday.
He made an impression at once.
Examination revealed that he was already so well-grounded in Latin, geography, and astronomy
That he was allowed to enter college.
as a sophomore.
Of all his friends in college, there was one who influenced him the most.
Jacob Eames.
Of Belfast, Maine.
Amiable, talented, witty,
Excellent personality.
but a confirmed deist.
If Adoniram's father had even suspected that his son had been dabbling in deism, he would have written post haste to Providence and removed him from Brown at once.
But he did not know.
In Adoniram's graduating class, there are 2 future senators, a future Supreme Court justice, and a future governor.
In spite of stiff intellectual competition, Adoniram still reached the goal his father had set for him.
Valedictorian.
No sooner than did he win this honor than he hurried to his room.
Dear Father, I have got it. Your affectionate son, Adoniram.
Within 2 weeks of graduation from the Plymouth Independent Academy.
In his spare time, he read a textbook on English grammar which was published by a company in Boston. Yes, and then he wrote another, The Young Lady's Arithmetic.
And yet was dissatisfied.
He was living a lie. He took part in family worship. He attended church faithfully.
But no one suspected his real beliefs.
Every week he grew more restless.
He remembered the ambitions he and Jacob Eames had shared in college.
They wanted to become great writers
The Shakespeares
and
Ben Johnsons of America.
Finally, he came to a decision.
He would leave home.
He would go to New York.
He would learn to write for the theater.
Adoniram, I don't understand. You started school, write some textbooks, all your students love you, and on your 20th birthday you close the academy?
Adoniram, Why? What are you going to do?
I think I'll travel for a while, see some of the world. I'd like to visit Uncle Ephraim, see his church in Sheffield. Then I might go into Albany. I'd like to see the ceremony. You know the new boat they've invented to run on steam? I might even take that to New York.
New York? A modern Sodom.
But your whole family is in Plymouth.
Why would you suddenly decide to leave a promising career? Adoniram, if teaching is not to your liking, why not study to be a minister?
A minister?
Yes, a minister. Your father is a minister.
Well, I am not, and I never will be. You may as well know that the God of the Third Congregational Church of Plymouth is not my God. The Bible, it's the work of men, just like the Quran or the sacred writings of Buddha.
What has gotten into you?
I've just been enlightened, Father.
Adoniram, I will endeavor not to get upset. But I will also endeavor to persuade you.
In a theater were a disappointment, and after 3 weeks, he returned to his uncle's house for his horse.
His uncle was away, but a young preacher was taking his place. He spent the night in the parsonage, and the two men talked. Adoniram was impressed. This young preacher knew what he believed and was at peace with himself. Adoniram wished he had such peace. In the morning, Adoniram rode away, not knowing where he was going.
Only knowing that he was going
away from Plymouth.
As night drew on, he passed through a small village
And stopped at a local inn.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like a room for the night.
I'm sorry, young man, but my inn is completely full.
You don't have even one room?
I do have one room, but it would not suit you.
Why not?
Well, it's next to a young man who is critically ill, perhaps dying. It would not suit you.
No, I will not let two measly noises deny me a night's sleep.
Very well. I'll get you a key and a light. You travel far?
Yes, from Sheffield.
From Sheffield. So you're headed west?
Yes.
Here's your room. It's comfortable.
Yes. Thank you.
Oh, good night, Mr. Judson.
I wonder if he is dying. I wonder if he's prepared to die. The landlord said he's young. Death can come to anyone, at any age. To me, am I ready to die? What is death? Father would welcome it, a door opening to eternal glory. Please, no. But to a free thinker, an infidel, it may be a door to an empty pit, to darkness, darker than night. No!
Midnight's fancies. Terrors in the night. Well, my classmates at Brown saying such fears. I can almost hear Jacob Eames laughing now.
Good morning, young madam. Did you sleep well?
Well, there were just some noises down the hall. I hardly slept a wink.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. Hope you come again.
Perhaps.
Morning.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Judson. Did you sleep well?
Yes. Hardly noticed any noises from the room next door. By the way, how is the young man?
Oh, he's dead.
Dead?
Yes, that'll be $1.50.
Yes. Dead. Sorry to hear that. Do you know who he was?
Yes, he was a young man from Providence College named Eames. Jacob Eames.
Jacob!
Mr. Judson, are you all right?
Lost. Lost. In death, Jacob Eames is lost. Utterly, irrevocably lost.
Like a
Jacob Eames, at this very moment, is experiencing the unimaginable torments of hell to open and snatch Jacob Eames, your dearest friend, from the next room. This could not be coincidence. No!
He's all powerful.
He knew where you would be last night. He knew you would meet that young preacher at your uncle's house.
And God knew
that Jacob Eames should be in that very inn, fall sick, die, and be damned.
He is a just God, a loving God, and in the death of your friend,
God has given you ample warning
to turn from your error.
in your bones
You know
that the God of the Bible is the real God.
Adoniram,
Stop!
Turn back
Towards home.
It was at Andover Seminary that Adoniram received assurance of his salvation.
His heart had urged him to accept his father's creed, but his mind,
That keen instrument that was sharpened by training from childhood through college,
needed facts.
logic.
Reasoning.
The faculty at Andover provided all that and more.
And on December 2nd, 1808, Adoniram made a solemn dedication of himself to God.
It was at Andover too that he met 4 other young men who had considered foreign missionary service.
One of the 4 was
Samuel Newell.
Adoniram? This is your roommate calling. The lid for the firebox?
Oh.
That must be a very fascinating book. Did you draw the water from the well? Did you feel the... No, you didn't.
You talking to me, Sam?
Well, I've been trying to, but you seem to be somewhere else. What is so interesting about this book? Star in the East?
Yes. It's a book by Dr. Claudius Buchanan. It teaches of the German missionary Schwartz, who spent nearly 50 years in India.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, and William Carey, an English cobbler who, in our lifetime, established a mission a few miles above Calcutta.
I know about Carey's work.
You do?
Yes. When I was a boy, I heard Captain Vision Wicks speak at a news meeting in Philadelphia about Carey's mission in Serampore.
Dr. Buchanan says the time is right to spread Christianity among Eastern people.
And what's this book? An account of embassy to the King of Ava?
Yes. It was written by Michael Symes, an English army officer who, in our lifetime, was sent to Burma by the Golden General of India.
His people are civilized. They can read and write and have essential literature, like the sovereign of China. His Majesties of Ava acknowledge no equal. Indeed, he considers foreign ministers as vessels come to render homage, rather than representatives vested with authority to treat on equal terms.
Everything about the king is
golden. To journey to see him is to be invited to kneel at the golden feet. He's an absolute monarch, and according to him, the only reason he has not yet extended his sway to the rest of the world is because up to now, he's hardly thought it worth the trouble.
Why is everything golden?
Because the king is so wealthy. Gold mines, silver mines, rubies and sapphires. But the thing that interests me is that the people are utterly pagan. Buddhists. They believe people go through cycles of existence. Sometimes as humans, sometimes as animals. Dog, cat. Even an insect.
Careful. That could be incredible. Or United Souls.
Indeed. What prospect for a mission?
Samuel, I was just thinking. You know Dr. Buchanan's book about India?
You know all the missionaries that have taken the gospel? Schwartz, Morrison, Carey Marsh, Ward, and Livingston. Not one of them was an American.
You're right, Adonai. Well, Mrs. Smith called us up already. Are you coming?
Yes, I'll be right there.
Dark souls by the millions await the gospel. Jesus said, "Go ye therefore and teach all nations." Do not all foreign missionaries have to be translated? Who has more aptitude for languages than I? Why should I not be a foreign missionary to one of these remote parts of the world? To Burma, I will. I will be the first American foreign missionary, the very first.
Yes, from Plymouth.
And your father, is he a minister?
Yes.
And how long have you been at Andover Seminary?
2 years.
Well, you and your friends certainly shocked the delegation at the council with your memorial. I thought Manassas, Cutler, and Parson Allen would mutilate their tri-cornered hats.
John!
Well, it's not every day that you see 4 young men stand before the General Assembly and announce that they've devoted their lives to reaching the heathen. There was a noticeable gasp when Mr. Judson here said that they were offering their lives as foreign missionaries. And then when they addressed the fathers in the church, asking their counsel, guidance, and their prayers, well, I saw several of the delegates break out with cold sweat.
We certainly did not mean to cause anyone consternation.
Indeed not.
It is just so happens that there was not a single mission society in all America to send us forth.
Well, I'm sure the council will take the matter under full consideration. But in the meantime, if you'll excuse me, I have church business to attend to. A lovely dinner, my dear.
And will you and Abigail help me clear the table?
Oh, please, let us know. You were so kind to prepare the meal. Please do with me. Oh, please.
Well,
Why don't you sit here and relax in the parlor while we watch the dishes?
that is my fault for you.
Think nothing of it. What am I doing?
What do you mean?
I mean, if we were back at the boarding house at Andover, it'd be your turn to do the dishes, wouldn't it?
Well, yes.
And I would do my moonstone theology, wouldn't I?
Yes, but...
I wouldn't want to break our routine, especially when there's a kind lady in the parlor who suddenly gets the benefit of theological discussion. Besides, the kitchen is too crowded for her. Abigail, would you care to join me in the parlor? The kitchen was too crowded, so we thought we would join you.
I'm sorry, my roommates sometimes do.
Don't apologize. I was hoping for an opportunity to talk with you.
You were?
Yes. Everyone is talking about Adonai Justice, the young man who is having such a stir in the ecclesiastical circles. So I was anxious to meet you.
Well,
I expected a fire break, but you spent most of the night staring into your plate and only speaking in monosyllables. Are you always so quiet?
no. I've just been a little distracted today.
Well, what do your parents think you're going to a foreign mission field?
They don't understand. My mother and sister have burst into tears when I told them. You see, Dr. Griffin, pastor of the largest church in Boston, he just asked me, be his assistant.
And your father?
He said nothing. He just sat in his rocker by the fire. But I could tell it's hope for me from his dad.
Oh, I can't understand his disappointment.
But tell me about you.
You may call me Nancy. All my friends do.
Nancy. Well, all I really know about you is you're the daughter of Deacon Houseplant.
Well, I'm the youngest of 4 daughters. I have 1 brother. I'm often said to be the pet of the family. Well, Father does spoil me a little. I'm cheerful. I have no fears, and Mother often says to me, and I hope one day you're satisfied with rambling.
Well, I don't see how anyone could be gloomy or unhappy with you around. I suspect that all the boys seek your company.
Well, they used to, but in recent days I've changed somewhat.
Oh.
Yes. When I attended Bradford Academy, it seemed I did little but attend balls and parties and occupy my mind with what I thought were innocent amusements. But then God spoke to me out of the lines of Pilgrim's Progress. She that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth.
Yes. Friends can sometimes do that, whether that be the path of pleasure or the path of ambition.
Did you give up a friend?
No, God removed him from my life.
Well, once I was truly converted, my friends gave me up.
And now?
Well, now my days are spent teaching school, my evenings in spiritual enjoyment, and my Sundays in entertaining miscellaneous.
Well, Mr. Judson, it looks like you and your friend might be on your way to Burma quicker than you'd hoped.
Sir?
Well, I was just down at the academy and I spoke with Hale, secretary of the association, and he said that the council was favorable.
Excuse me. Sam!
Adoniram, what is it?
Deacon Houseplant just said the committee is favorable.
Nothing is official.
Just think of it, Sam.
It may take months.
We'll be the first Americans to go to the foreign mission field.
Perhaps as long as years.
Well, thank you, sir, for the news and the hospitality. Now, if you'll excuse me, the others want to be encouraged. Goodbye, Nancy. I enjoy to talk. May I call on you sometime?
Well, you would have to ask my father.
I hate to interrupt, but stay or not, this is never enough. We're both working on this.
Oh, here. Why?
Nice young men, aren't they?
Yes, he is.
Dear sir, I now must ask whether you can consent to part with your daughter early next spring, to see her no more in this world, whether you can consent to her subjection to the hardships and sufferings of missionary life. Whether you can consent to her exposure to the dangers of the ocean, to the fatal influence of the southern climate of India, to every kind of want and distress, to degradation, insult, persecution, and perhaps even a violent death. Can you consent to all this in hope of soon meeting your daughter in the world of glory with a crown of righteousness? Brightened with the acclamations of praise which shall resound to her Savior from heathen seed through her means, from eternal woe and despair.
What'd you do?
What?
What'd you do? You don't seem like the criminal type, you and your expectant wife. Yet, you seem to be running from someone.
No, we're running to someone.
In Rangoon, Burma? They ain't been a white face there in 20 years of what I know. And they ain't never seen a white woman. Who you running to?
Immortal souls, lost without Christ.
You got that right. I ain't never seen as many heathens there. A bunch of thieves, cutthroats, leprous beggars with a hand or a foot cut off, begging for alms on the corners of the streets.
By contrast to New England.
I thought you was American. What were you doing on the Isle of France?
Same thing we were doing in Madras and in Calcutta, trying to get to Burma.
Sounds like to me you've had a run-in or two with the East India Company.
Yes. When we first arrived in India, they were going to send us on a ship back to America. It's been nearly a year trying to reach Burma.
Money.
What?
Missionaries are bad for trade. The East India Company don't want their heathen evangelized. The teaching of the good book might change their outlook on the black market ways.
They tried to force us to go back on an English military ship. Well, we fled to Calcutta, then the Isle of France. It's nearly been a year trying to get to Burma.
You wife ain't far from delivery, is she?
No. But our mission has nearly been plagued by death and disaster.
Death?
Yes. My friend Samuel Newell lost his wife in childbirth.
That's too bad. And the child? That's a dirty shame it is. You ain't want to get below deck, sir. The Bay of Bengal is known for its nasty storms. Let's everything down! Your wife had the baby, Mr. Judson. Ain't cause for sadness if the first one's a girl.
It's a boy.
Well, ain't that a cause for celebrating? Let me have a look at the little fellow. I see. I'm sorry, Mr. Judson. And your wife?
She's exhausted from the tossing and turning of the ship and the delivery of a dead child. She may go to the watery graves with this little one.
I'll have one of the sailors prepare a little canvas mat. Prepare, Mr. Judson.
my little one, my firstborn.
Even if the darkness were lifted, I would see nothing but the Bay of Bengal stretching out endlessly in all directions.
I'm sorry I never knew you. And losing you makes me wonder why I'm halfway around the world on an ill-smelling vessel, sailing through the darkness on an endless sea. What is the purpose of divine providence in all this? To pluck from our hands the promised life of our firstborn, and to leave us empty and alone, without comfort from loved ones or friends? Is it to chasten us? To fortify us for trials ahead? Am I fulfilling here the greatness my Father predicted for me? Is it part of being a great man to see my firstborn sewn into a canvas bag and buried in the waves of a hostile sea? What draws us across the waters? God? Satan? Self? Whatever the trial or sadness that awaits us in Burma, little one, it cannot compare to the heartbreak I feel at having never known you for what you were or could have been.
We arrived in Rangoon. Nancy, still fatigued and sick with grief, had to be carried off the ship to the mission house. Within a few days, I had found a teacher, a Hindu scholar, and we began the long, laborious task of learning Burmese. In 4 or 5 months, we felt confident enough in the language to pay a visit to the viceroy, the ruler of the city.
white.
Yes, we are Americans. English.
He never see white woman.
You have more?
What?
More white women!
She is the only one.
Can you join us for wine or rum?
We want to thank you, Your Eminence. But according to our English background, we prefer tea.
We are glad to be in Rangoon.
We're happy to have you. Why you come to Golden Shore?
Well,
Woman, talk.
Well, Your Eminence, we are teachers of religion.
Good. We need teachers. Tell people of the great Buddha, the Gautama. Teach people to bring gold to Shizagan with light over us.
The vice boy makes prime object to the golden pagoda, to the golden skull.
yes, we've seen it. It's visible for miles.
It is beautiful. In vault lie holy relics, staff of one moon, robe of another.
And the holiest of them all, the 8 hairs of the great Buddha himself. You are teachers. You should know this.
Yes, we.
Woman, talk.
Well, Your Eminence, we teach about the eternal God.
Eternal?
Yes, he never dies and has always existed.
No, no such God.
But there is.
No such God. Against the law of emperor. In my hand, life and death. Punish all the great one.
The vice boy punished 7 thieves just 2 moons past. They were hung by their feet with their bowels hanging out, remained hanging for 3 days, as a spectacle to others.
What is the usual punishment for stealing?
Cut off them.
And for other crimes?
For all crime, punishment same. Cut off head.
You have children?
No, not yet. Your Eminence, we want to thank you for your kindness. The things we will teach your people will make your people better, easier for you to rule.
You please, husband, have a white baby soon?
Soon, and Your Eminence will be the first one to visit.
Yeah!
look into a large room, which we call the veranda, you could see Mr. Judson bent over his table, covered with Burmese books, with his teacher at his side, a venerable-looking man in his 60th year. They talk and chatter all day long, with hardly any cessation. My mornings are busily employed in giving directions to the servants, providing food for the family, and keeping house. I have more interruptions than Mr. Judson, as I have the entire management of the house. I took this on myself, that Mr. Judson might attend more closely to the study of the language.
In September of 1815, our second child was born. We named him Roger Williams, after the famous preacher to the American Indians.
He flourished from the start and was the talk of the town. The people had never seen a white baby.
But in May, little Roger was taken with a feverish cough. Something in his throat seemed to be choking him.
His heavy breathing could be heard all over the house.
After several days of struggle, the little fellow breathed his last and was gone. We buried him in a little circle of mango trees, which surrounded a bamboo hut where Nancy was in the habit of writing letters home.
Dear God, I never held my firstborn, but little Roger was mine for 9 months. My heart was knit with his, and now he's gone. Lord God, receive my precious baby into your arms and uphold me with thy right hand of mercy.
Dear God, how much more must we pay for the conversion of these heathen people? May the future prove to bring present sacrifices in the providence of God.
In 1890, we erected a zayat on the Pagoda Road. A zayat is a large bamboo hut built on posts about 4 feet above the ground. On the Burmese Sabbath, the Pagoda Road was thronged by thousands. The enclosed part was used as a large room for public worship. Soon the zayat had such a steady stream of visitors that I had no time for study. On Friday in April, I noticed a visitor at the zayat who seemed unusually attentive. His name was Mun Nao, and he manifested a humble and teachable spirit. He kept coming. And then, the next Sabbath.
There is a being who exists eternally. He never gets sick, will never die, and will never get old. He is the true God, and there is none else. Adam and Eve were our first parents. They disobeyed the true God and were subject to sickness and death, and became deserving of the dreadful punishment of hell. But God moved with compassion and sent Jesus to the earth to suffer and die in man's place, that man might live forever with the one true God.
Teacher, we all know who died 1 week past. Is his soul in heaven or in hell?
His soul is lost, I think.
Why so?
Because he was not a disciple of Christ.
How do you know that? You cannot see his soul.
How do you know that the root of the mango tree is good? You cannot see it, but you can judge by the fruit on its branches. I know that Huma is not a disciple of Christ, because his words and actions did not indicate he was Christ's disciple.
And all the people that are not followers of Christ lost?
Yes, whether Burmans or foreigners.
This is hard.
All must suffer for sins they commit. The punishment follows the crown just as surely as the wheel of the cart follows the footsteps of the ox.
Now, according to the Burman system, there is no escape. But in Christianity, there is. Jesus Christ has died in the place of sinners.
That I will not believe.
I believe. I have listened to one for many days who left father and mother and his own country to come through seas to share his news with Burma. He seeks neither gold nor greatness, but he is great, great teacher, a great God.
Now, you swear your allegiance to Christ alone, even though it may mean death.
I do, and I wish to be baptized.
When?
This moment, if the teachers see me fit for such honor.
Come. What doth hinder thee to be baptized?
Baptized our first convert in a large pond on whose banks was an enormous image of the Buddha.
After 6 years of work,
The loss of 2 of our missionary associates in death,
and laying to rest our own 2 children,
we had one convert.
May this prove to be a series of baptisms that will continue in uninterrupted succession until the end of time.
Whosoever therefore would be greatest among you, let him be the servant of all.
For a moment, please, could we just bow our heads and close our eyes? Before we get on with the congratulations, the announcements, the pictures, I would just like for us all to take a moment to just soak in the things that we just saw. Let's take a moment of silence. Lord, we just saw an incredible portrayal of what it looks like to see a life fully surrendered to you. The life of Adoniram Judson, a legacy Nearly 200 years later, millions of people impacted because of one man's surrender to you. And God, here this evening, probably over 100 people here, we just saw this testimony lived out before us. Lord, the world was turned upside down by your 12 disciples, by 12 men. What could you do if each and every one of us in this room dedicated our lives wholly to you, no matter the cost? Lord, I pray, my heart's prayer is that each person that was here tonight that saw this production, the cast as well, Lord, it is my heart's prayer that each and every one of us would come to the realization of first, that there is a need in this world. Come to the second realization, Lord, that you have made each and every one of us to fulfill a need. And lastly, Lord, I pray that each of us in this room would purpose in our hearts to surrender ourselves to you, to allow ourselves to be willing to be used by you to whatever means you see fit to reach the lost of this world. God, there are so many that are lost and dying that do not have the eternal hope that we have. This world with all of its filth, its wickedness, its rottenness, its hurt, its hardships, for us as believers, this is as bad as it's ever going to get. But Father, for those lost souls out there, this sick world is as good as it's going to get for them. God, would that break our hearts? Just like it did Adoniram's. Think of souls that are spending an eternity in hell. Jacob Eames. He's there now, Lord. But Adoniram is with you in heaven, reaping the harvest that he sowed. So much incredible hardship. God, please work in the hearts of the people that are here this evening, I pray. Bring us to the point where we surrender all to you. We are willing to be used by you. Father, it is you alone that can do that work. So I pray that your Spirit would be with the people that are here tonight. And as we leave from this place, Lord, would you convict? Would you prick our hearts? The things that we're holding back from you. May we give our all to you, Lord. Our life is but a vapor here. But the time we spend on this earth matters for eternity. Bring us revival, Lord. Our nation needs it. Our churches need it. Our families need it. Our schools need it. Father, bring revival, I pray. In the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Let's give them one more round of applause. What I'd like to do in just a moment is I've asked them if they've learned anything or experienced anything during this week. I want to try to hear from them for just a minute. I've got 3 volunteers that want to share with you some of the things that they've learned during this week. And as they're sharing that, if I could ask the Academy Arts team to come join them up on stage. And once they're finished, I'll have some closing announcements and I'll get your pictures and you go home. Let's just hear from our young people in the cast at this stage.
Hi, my name is Alex. I was playing at the Innkeeper and I was playing Deacons. My job was merely just comedic relief. Try to keep this play a little lighthearted, but it's a very serious play, and I do hope that it hits you where it hurts, because it definitely hit me this week. Because coming into this, I was always happy-go-lucky. I love to play. I love having fun. I love the comedic parts. I love making people laugh. It's who I am. But during this week, I was really challenged spiritually, especially by Justin's testimony. What a powerful testimony. I know a lot of you didn't get to hear it, but it affected me deeply. And I just want to say that wherever you are in your life, if you dedicate your life fully and surrender it all, He can do amazing things. It might not be halfway across the globe like Adoniram, but you'll have an effect on someone. That's what I just want to say.
Hey guys, my name's Paige. I played Nancy in the play. What I learned this week is that they went 6 years without one convert. That's crazy to put all that much effort, having 2 children die, and Nancy almost dying,
where there would only be one convert with 6 years, but that one convert was really important to them, and it touched my heart this week. But, yeah.
Hi, I'm Garrett Green. I played Adoniram Judson in this play. The amount of people around me with skill and talent that I've never seen in a group of people is just outstanding. But the scenes where, like, Jacob Eames and Samuel Newell and all of his friends, you see how much impact someone has on your life, and how much one little thing like deism or just studying something can change your future. And it's really easy to fall into that and just get confused with the world and stay away from God. It's very hard to stay with God with the way the world is like right now, especially with the pandemic we're in. But that's all I wanted to say, and thank you guys for coming out.
Again, the purpose why we as the Academy of Arts come to do these weeks is not just to have laughs and have a good memory and cool costumes and pictures and all that, but ultimately we want to see people, first of all, salvation. We want to see people give their lives to Christ. But secondly, we want to see the people that have made that decision of accepting Christ as their Savior. We want to see those people change, challenge, encourage, whatever it may be, whether it's the cast, the audience. We want to see lives impacted for Christ. That's why we do what we do. If I could have my team just come out and join me up here on the stage. What I'd like to do is just have us all introduce ourselves to you. And if you wouldn't mind, please, just whether you have to write it down or text it to yourself, just write our names down, if you would, and lift us up in prayer as you think about it. If you have like a regular prayer schedule, just please add us to that list, because we're constantly traveling around the country working with dozens, hundreds of young people around the country to try to make a difference in this world. It's what God has called us to, like God called Adoniram. You can do missions across the world. You can do missions around the country, or you can even do missions to your next door neighbor, your friends, your family, whatever it may be. So as we all introduce ourselves, could you please just commit our names to memory and lift us up in prayer, and we would appreciate that so much. Nothing that we can do is going to make an impact on people. It's Christ that works through us. If my team could come out and introduce ourselves. First of all, I'd like to start. My name is Justin Swain, and I'm from Greenville, South Carolina. I've been with the Academy of Arts for about 8 years now, and I had the privilege of directing high school.
Hi y'all, my name is Caleb Mack, and I'm in charge of this tech.
Hi everyone, my name is Emily Yoder, and I did costumes this week.
Hello everyone, my name is Zach Miner, and I am in charge of sets this week, and this is my lovely wife.
I'm Amy Miner, and I was in charge of makeup this week.
Hi, my name is Laura Warren, and I was the assistant director this week.
And my name is Jennifer Swain. I'm married to Justin. We have 2 little boys. Our littlest, Elias, was baby Adoniram tonight. And I was in charge of props. I helped a little bit with makeup, a little bit with directing, and just floated around.
Can we give them a round of applause? Things before I turn it over to my wife. I just want to say thank you all for allowing us to be a part of your lives, both to the young people who are being involved in the school. Thank you to host families that have been putting up with us for the past 2 weeks and feeding us and giving us transportation and all that. Thank you, Mr. Lopez, for all of your hard work and coordinating with us. Christian and Mary Lamas, thank you for all of your hard work. And just all the staff here at GCA for just letting us come in, take over, and go crazy and do our thing here. We really do appreciate it. Y'all being willing to work with us during this week, so thank you very much.
Thank you too, just for having the faith to come out and let your children be involved, your young adults, I should say, they're not little kids. But it's really touching. I know we're only here for a week, but we travel all over the country, and it's neat to see how God will plant little seeds, where you think, oh, we're just a small group, what could he possibly do with us? But you guys, you can change the world if you put your mind to it. Like, God turned the world over with 12 disciples, and you're about 5 times that up here. So if you'd like to follow our journey, we'll be kind of putting up a travel blog, not just to show you like where we're at in the country, but also just to show you how God's working. So if you're interested in just reading along with us, you can visit us at the promo table in the back, and we'll give you guys that address that you can follow along. If you feel so led to support us, a lot of us are giving our whole lives to do this because we believe that God can change the world with your young people. And He always provides. I will say that. We have never been left begging bread. He is faithful. But he does it through people like you. So if you feel led to support us monthly, we will not say no. You can do that in the back as well. We can give you some more information. But anything you'd like to know about the ministry as well is back there. We'd love to talk to you. But just thank you again for giving us the opportunity to minister. You're letting us use our gifts to teach your people how to use their gifts so that we can change the world, and we so appreciate that. So thank you very much.
What we're going to do after this, you will be dismissed, but for a few moments you may have the opportunity to jump up here and take pictures of all your lovely looking Oologans and Burmese people and whatever else. Y'all can take pictures for a little bit, but we do need all of them to get out of their costumes and to return everything so that we can go home and sleep and do it all again tomorrow. So take your pictures, have fun, make some memories, and then send your people off to go get in their regular street clothes and turn in their costumes. Thank you so much for having us, and you are dismissed.